To understand the weapons, we first need to understand the war tactics of each side. The Nazis used the tactic of blitzkrieg, or lightning warfare. This used quick and unsuspected attacks, as well as many tanks. They also used structural defense, where they would build bunkers with heavy machine guns to hold down land. The Allies had to be prepared for blitzkrieg. The Allies also used many amphibious and paratrooper invasions, such as D-Day. The weapons needed to be light enough and mobile enough to use in these invasions.
Just as somebody switch now, wouldn't you? He gonna make love on your satin sheets, wake up on your living room floor. He's the last of the hardcore troubadours.
This video goes over 5 different types of weapons: the rifle, submachine gun, machine gun, pistol, and anti-tank weapon. A rifle is accurate from long range and has a slow rate of fire. A submachine gun has a high rate of fire, but is not very accurate from long range. A machine gun is very big and is not very mobile, but has a very high rate of fire. A pistol is a smaller weapon that can be used for close quarters combat or just a backup weapon. An anti-tank weapon is a launched explosive designed to take out tanks. The Karabiner 98K was the standard rifle of the Nazis in World War II. The Karabiner was accurate, but was bolt action. This means it took a long time to reload in between shots. For this reason, many soldiers use semi-automatic weapons, which can fire quicker. An example of a semi-automatic rifle is the M1 Garand, used by the Americans. The M1 Garand was the first semi-automatic rifle ever used in war. This rifle could shoot 8 bullets at a time without reloading, which meant the difference between life and death for a soldier. The M1 Carbine is a lighter version of the M1 Garand. Its compact size made it perfect for paratroopers and amphibious troops. Because of the Nazis' blitzkrieg tactics, they frequently surprise attacked soldiers not on the front lines. The M1 Carbine was given to these soldiers because it was light enough to carry around while performing other tasks, but powerful enough to defend the soldiers. For these reasons, the M1 Carbine is the most manufactured weapon in American history, with over 6.25 million made. The Lee Enfield was the standard British rifle. It was much like the Karabiner 98K in that it was bolt action. However, the Lee Enfield was commonly equipped with a bayonet or a big knife on the tip. The Lee Enfield was so effective that it was used until the 1980s. The Thompson M1 was an American submachine gun, commonly known as the Tommy gun. The Tommy gun was used because it has a high rate of fire and is fairly compact. The Tommy gun is most famous for its use by American gangsters and the FBI. The MP-38 was the German submachine gun. It was much more effective than the Tommy gun, which was evident when Allied soldiers would swap them with their own weapons whenever possible. The identical MP-40 was made 2 years later with only material cost differences. The MP-40 was copied by many countries throughout the war. The Sten, the British submachine gun, was known primarily for its cheapness. Because of the economic hardships of World War II, the British were forced to produce these underwhelming weapons. They were very unpopular among the soldiers, as it was consisted of little more than 2 pipes and a trigger. However, the Sten performed decently in guerrilla combat because of its sleek design. Because of its cheap cost, over 4.5 million Stens were manufactured during World War II, which allowed the British to mobilize more troops and help prevent a Nazi invasion of England. The SG-44 is arguably the most influential gun in all of history. The first assault rifle, this German gun combined the long-range accuracy of a rifle with the quick fire of a submachine gun. The SG-44 inspired the AK-47, the most popular gun worldwide. Today, every soldier, besides sniper, carries a version of the SG-44. The SG-44 quickly replaced all rifles and submachine guns of the Nazis. Unfortunately for the Germans, it was invented near the end of the war in 1944. Had it been invented earlier, the war could have turned out much differently. The MG-34, issued by the Germans in 1934, was the first effective and general-purpose machine gun. This gun could fire over 900 bullets in 1 minute. Although it was not at all mobile, it was effective in the Germans' structural defense tactic. The Germans would strategically build bunkers around machine guns and fire into valleys or lowlands, such as the beaches of Normandy. 8 years later, an improved version was issued, the MG-42. It could fire 1,800 bullets in 1 minute, or twice the speed of the MG-34. It was also lighter and half the cost to build. In this clip from Saving Private Ryan, you can see the destructive power of German machine guns. The Bren was the British machine gun. The Bren could only fire 500 bullets per minute, which is less than 1/3 of what the Germans' MG-42 could fire. It was also very bulky, having to be carried by 2 people at a time. It was made by the same company as the Lee Enfield rifle, which was the Enfield Armory. Like the Lee Enfield, it was well built and favored by soldiers, despite its lower rate of fire. The M1911 pistol is an American classic. First issued in 1911, it was the official handgun of the American Army until 1985, and is still used today by most Special Forces teams. It is extremely reliable and durable, and is most useful in close quarters combat. The Luger 08 was the pistol of Nazi Germany in World War I and II. The sleek design and unique shaped barrel made it one of the symbols of Nazi Germany. Unlike its American counterpart, it was discontinued shortly after the war. The bazooka was an American anti-tank weapon. It basically launched an explosive grenade at a tank, which could pierce through side armor. This weapon was so effective that it was immediately copied by the Germans. The only drawback was that the smoke from the blast could give away the shooter's position to the enemy. The PIAT, which stands for Projectile Infantry Anti-Tank, was a British anti-tank explosive similar to the bazooka, only much stronger. The PIAT was used effectively in the Italian invasion starting in 1943. Other unique weapons of World War II included kamikaze dogs, the flamethrower, and doodlebugs. Kamikaze dogs were used by the Russians. The Russians would train the dogs to run towards German tanks when they were instructed to. They then strapped bombs to the dogs and sent them on suicide missions. This was a very cruel but effective process. Another weapon was doodlebugs. These were German mines that looked like mini tanks. Although they were not very effective, it was a big step in the field of robotics. The last weapon is the flamethrower, which will be demonstrated in a short video.
this morning.